Here we are again, everybody. It's open world chat. Welcome once again. We're glad you're listening. I'm your host, John Odom. I'm here with my co-host, Mark Card. Mark,
Yes,
how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, John?
I am jolly today. I don't know what's going on. Truth is, sometimes we do this show and I'm feeling in a grumpy mood, but I want to put on a happy face for my people. But I'm jolly today, man. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to dive into stuff.
Yeah, this should be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. What we're going to talk about today is science fiction again. But we're going to talk about when science fiction hates science. You think about sci-fi as looking at the future, the positive effects of technology, where technology will take us into space, into better societies, or at least a lot of times we do. But sometimes science fiction doesn't just hate scientists, not just scientists who play with things that they can't control or they can't possibly understand that get them and other people into trouble. Sometimes science fiction hates the science itself,
Hmm.
which is kind of weird when you think about it, you
I
know?
approach this from a little bit different perspective.
Uh-huh.
I tried to look at science fiction where science is the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's another way to say it. I think that's spot on. Um, that's in fact, that's a very interesting way to put it. Um, well, I think we both love to do categories, right?
sure.
Yeah. You probably did some, I did some.
Yeah,
But I
I
had a
came up
hard
with
time with categories with this one.
I really didn't. I think there might be some overlap, in which case the category should be collapsed. But
Yeah.
I came up with two, four, five different categories.
Well, here's the ones I made, but I have a problem with them, which I'll tell
Okay.
you in a minute. First, this is one we've had devoted an entire episode to, and that's AI. But there's still, we want to talk about it because it's a big one in this category.
Oh yeah.
There's the tinkering with life. That's a big category.
Yes, I phrased that differently. I called it genetic engineering.
Well, I think I thought about that, and I think there's two categories to genetic engineering. I think there's tinkering with life, and I think there's creating life. I put those into two different categories.
I see.
Consciousness transfer. I think you see a lot of that. Too much automation, energy development, and then I had miscellaneous ones. My categories collapsed. They just collapsed because there were just some that didn't fit. And if there's some that didn't fit, you don't have categories, right?
Well, you might have to develop a new category.
I tried with
Okay,
the
so just to contrast, here are mine, AI, of course. And then I kind of give them different dimensions. So like the next category is computing, technology, media, and computing is different than AI.
uh,
And then the third category is medicine. In
medicine.
instances where medicine goes wrong. And
Fascinating.
I think some of that would include tinkering with life.
Mhm.
And then there's kind of tinkering with or developing or trying to manipulate time. So time travel slash alternate dimensions slash the multiverse.
I
And
didn't
then
think about that.
finally genetic engineering.
Tinkering with time. Of course, that's one. Why didn't I
Yeah, I
think of
mean
that?
there's and when we get to talking about that category, I'll give you a great example of a movie which kind of does all three dimensions in that category.
So I think we should do this backwards just because I'm most curious about this, not because thematically it makes sense to. I'm just being selfish here. But I'm curious which ones, some examples of things you found, if any, that didn't fit into your categories.
I didn't really find anything that didn't fit. I mean, I think some fit better than others, but
Mhm.
and the problem comes with a movie that might fit into multiple categories
Yeah, I got a
because
couple of those.
yeah. And so I think there's going to be some overlap because I think in some of these movies, you're going to have genre overlap too. There'll be science fiction horror as an example.
Sure. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so it may fall into multiple categories.
God, it sounds like you got a lot of different stuff than I did, which is incredibly cool. I'm sure when we get to AI, because we've talked about it, there'll be a ton of overlap. And I don't want to spend too much time on that because we've talked about it.
Yeah,
But
I'm only going to talk about one movie with AI.
uh, um, I'm going to tell you the ones I have that I just couldn't fit into my categories.
Yeah, let's do that first.
Yeah. Well, two jumped to mind. Um, the first one that jumped to mind was a Black Mirror episode called Nosedive, where everyone's obsessed with uh, social media, um, and you get your like little Instagram or whatever you want to call it, social level. Why can't I speak today? Anyways, you get levels based on your social scoring, right? If you do
Right.
something that's cool, you get a higher social scoring. If you do something or screw it up or something that's uncool, it drops down. And everybody's obsessed with getting high social scoring, and your position in life and in society depends on it. People are obsessive about it, and they perform rather than living, I guess, is what they're doing. Have you seen that episode?
No, I haven't.
It's very cool. I mean, Black Mirror is all about technology, and
Yeah,
most of
I
what
haven't
they.
seen the show at all.
Oh my God, you got to go check it out. Oh my God, there are some brilliant episodes. Oh God, I'm gonna, when we're done here, I'm gonna have to recommend a couple to you. One in particular you will love. Um, just being the political scientist that you are. Um, but the other one that I couldn't find anything to do with was Event Horizon. Have you seen that?
I've not seen Event Horizon. I actually I have seen it, but it's been a long time ago.
Oh,
Um,
Event Horizon is cool.
yeah, I mean, I remember it vaguely. I'm gonna have to put that into the technology category.
Well, you have a general technology category. That's true, and it totally fits. It does not fit into any of my categories. Of course, the story is a warp drive, basically, a hyperspace engine that's developed, but you activate it and it takes you to hell, as in hell.
Right. Literally hell,
Yeah.
yes.
Cool sci-fi horror movie. It bombed when it came out, but it's gotten a following since, and I'm
Yeah,
definitely in that
it's
following.
definitely become a cult film.
Mhm. So those are ones. I'm sure there are more, but I only thought about this so much because, life is short.
Yeah, it reminds me, there's a Japanese movie which I can't recall the title, where ghosts enter the natural world through the internet.
Oh, that
And so,
reminds me of a Doctor
oh,
Who.
and another a good example of the one you're talking about kind of fits into my time travel, multiple dimensions, multiverse category is Doom.
Dune?
Doom.
Oh, Doom. Sorry, I'm
Doom,
actually having a little hard time hearing you.
where
That's
they
my
have
bad
portals
computer.
that bring you into hell. The Space Marines get brought into hell through certain portals.
Yeah.
And so that's that kind of movie too. So that's kind of that kind of fits my time travel dimensions multiverse category because technology leads you to the supernatural.
I think that fits your multiverse category more than just technology. I agree. I
Yeah,
think
no, I
that
think you're
one
right. I think
and Event Horizon.
that one definitely Event Horizon. I think both of those fit into that category.
Nosedive
Um,
too?
I'm sorry.
Oh no, your other one. What about Nosedive? The social
Nosedive, I don't think Nosedive fits into anything. I think it's different. I mean, it would, I think it would fall into that too, because the computing technology media, that's the category I have. It's my second category is computing slash technology slash media.
okay.
And
Yeah, then that
that's where
totally
that
works.
fits.
Yeah, for sure. Your categories are just better than mine. Although I like that I divided up creating life with tinkering with life. That's the
Oh,
only one I'm going to stick to. But other than that, I think you win.
well, I didn't know it was a competition. I
It's
was
always a competition. Everything's a competition.
I was just trying to organize everything and organize my thoughts. But there is another, I'm telling you, there's something else like this, like nosedive. There is something else, and I can't think of what it is because everybody spends all their time on their phones, and I don't remember what movie it is. My brain is going, there's a movie that deals with this. What the hell is that movie?
Uh,
Um,
don't ask me. If I could have thought of it, I would have put it in. I would have put it in my list.
I don't think it meant to be this kind of movie. Hold on a second. I'm trying to look it up.
Gonna
Uh,
look it up. Okay,
but we
folks,
can we we
please
we can
listening
continue
up. I'm gonna
talking
sing
while
you a
I'm
song.
looking. So let's see here.
Sometimes we gotta look it up. I do that. I'm just quick and quiet and sneaky about
I do that too. Uh, Pretty often actually.
it.
Let's see.
Well, it's hard to remember the names of things, you know? It's hard. You think you get to it and you know that thing with the guy and the thing and
Right.
that
Yes.
thing
Yes.
happened. You know, what are you going to do?
Well, you end up you could be on the game show Vague.
Don't know it. But you know
Oh
what I
no, it's a
thought
sketch
of?
from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, okay. I
You
was
know,
thinking of wait, wait, don't tell me when, you know, you get the folks who call in and they get the three different stories and you're supposed to guess which one is the correct story and then you win the prize.
right,
And you
right,
just know everybody gets it now. So I know when they're going through the stories, people are typing furiously in Google.
right, right. Yeah.
So
Uh,
any success? No success. This
Well, it's kind of the godfather of that episode, and it was a movie in 1999 called Ed TV.
Oh, I remember Ed TV that had Matthew McConaughey, right?
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey and Jenna Elfman, Woody Harrelson, Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, I never actually saw that.
Yeah, I saw it because I was bored, and it hints at that. It hints that um, your social standing based on, your daily activities online can go up and go down. But
Oh, no.
I think there's kind of a kernel of that which shows up in early social media, early internet movies like this. I mean, this is 5 years after the internet went private, and it already begins to look at what happens with our online lives, but it's not exactly what you would say. So I think it fits into my computing technology media category, but I think it's a tight squeeze. So um
Well, let's jump over to AI. Let's do the flyby AI
yeah,
here.
I was going to suggest we do that first.
Mhm.
I will talk about my first movie. I think the end all be all movie, which deals with AI, is Colossus, the Forbin Project.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of your favorite movies.
Yeah, and it handles all the issues from privacy, from the effect of sex, the effect of computing and technology and social media on sex, national security, the idea that AI, because it looks at humanity and says, "Oh yeah, you guys are idiots. We have to control things like nuclear weapons because you're just not responsible enough." And so it handles, or it kind of establishes the trope that what makes uh, humanity superior to uh, machines is our independence and our rebellion and our love of freedom. I just think it hits all the notes for why AI could be a problem.
Yeah, it definitely was. Well, I want to say ahead of its time, but ahead of its time, and yeah, it was ahead of its time. I
Yeah, I
mean,
think
there
it
were
was.
movies before it, but it was still, but they were ahead of their time too, like obviously 2001 came first, at least I think it did,
No,
but
it did.
it was ahead of its time too. I mean, all those movies around that time, they were prescient, you know?
Well, yeah, the late 60s and early 70s were great for kind of establishing the tone for science fiction films for the next 50 years.
Yeah. One AI that everybody forgets that jumps into my mind all the time is Demon Seed, which, oh God. But
Yeah, that one is definitely different. That one is very, very disturbing. You have to have a certain ability to compartmentalize things when you watch that movie.
yeah, you got I mean, it's they always go. I mean, you got them in comics too, of course. In Marvel, you've got the Supreme Intelligence, you've got
And
Ultron,
Ultron.
yeah, you've got Brainiac in DC. Lots more, lots more. We should probably mention this one that's coming out with Chris
Uh-huh.
Pratt called Mercy. Um,
Yeah, I don't really know anything about that. I just kind of found out that movie recently.
I have moderate hopes for it. Seems to be where AI is running the justice system and is just determining people's innocence or guilt in very crude, stark, horrific ways.
Right.
Hopefully it'll be
So
good.
so kind of like the post ad hoc version of Minority Report.
Yeah, yeah, it reminded me of Minority Report, even though you think about it and it was really different, but it's still, you can't help but be
Well,
reminded of it.
the thing is, Minority Report's not really technological.
Right.
That's not technology at all. That's entirely supernatural stuff.
Psychic. It's psychic stuff. We
Yeah.
forgot the psychic category. Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah, but
gee.
see, yeah, I don't think that's science though. I think that's pseudoscience. I don't think that's scientific at all.
Scanners, not sci-fi.
No, I don't think so. I think there's no we have no evidence that telekinesis works. We have no evidence that precognition works. I don't think that's science. I think that's pseudoscience fiction.
Interesting. I don't know if I agree with you on that, but I'm gonna think about it. I don't know. I might agree with you on that. I might.
Okay.
Before we fly off AI, though, I just want to mention how often when we have good AI, and there's a lot of good AI out there, but how often we make them goofy, you know,
Yes.
like the
Yeah. Yeah.
droids in Star Wars, the
They're
droids in the black hole.
childlike.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a great example of good AI that I think people overlook, and that's Big Hero 6. That's
The,
great AI. That's AI designed to fulfill a service to humanity without becoming so arrogant that it thinks it's better than humanity.
mhm. Which one is the AI? I don't even remember Big Hero 6.
It's the healthcare robot.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did see it. I just don't remember it. I should remember it. It was perfectly good cartoon. I
Well,
love
and they really talk about, that they really point out that AI as a tool, it can be used to enrich people unfairly. It can be used to murder people. It can be used to do all kinds of things. But what this movie does is it points out that AI is really good at serving humanity if necessary.
Yeah.
And it doesn't become so arrogant that it thinks humans are the cause of all problems and that they can do it better. It just serves to make humans feel better.
And then there's Marvin, the paranoid android.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. I love that. But yes, when AI is good, we have to kind of humanize it. We have to make it goofy or funny or quirky or uh, unable to communicate using human language,
Right.
R2D2.
A really strong exception to that, and there are few exceptions. Well, a couple exceptions I can think of, a couple in the comics, like Vision and Machine Man. But what I was
Hmm.
going to say was Moon, which is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, that's a really good movie. If you The thing about that movie is that shows that you can make a really great movie from uh, well-written dialogue, great performances, and a good story.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you don't need action sequences. You don't need lots of visual effects. It demonstrates the My Dinner with Andre effect, where you
Yeah.
can make a universally loved movie based just on plot, characters, and acting.
Two characters, or really one and a half, honestly,
Yeah,
because the Kevin Spacey AI is only so much of a character. But
right.
Sam Rockwell, man, oh God,
That guy is such an under recognized actor. He is
oh
so
yeah,
brilliant. I mean, watch that movie and then watch Three Billboards,
yeah,
uh, the Three Billboards movie. I can never
mhm.
name name of the town in Missouri, Ebbing, Missouri. Yeah, Three Billboards in Ebbing, Missouri. That he is so subtle and so restrained in his acting choices there. That is just a killer movie, and I honestly I don't think anybody else could have played that role.
I don't think so either. I think he was
I
brilliant.
think he's irreplaceable in that movie, and I mean everybody in that movie is great, but that movie's not the same without Sam Rockwell.
Yeah. So should we go on to life? How do we talk about life here? You've got a different way to talk about life than I
Well,
do.
let's go through your ways, and then I'll give you my examples of how it's different.
Okay, well, let's talk about tinkering with life then. Life that um, is not necessarily building it whole cloth, but things like, yeah, genetic engineering, good example. But one of my favorite examples is Gattaca, where
Yeah,
genetic engineering becomes a class, basically, where you're genetically engineered, you're part of the ruling class, and technically, discrimination is not allowed, but the whole society is built on it. That's an underappreciated movie. It's got a little bit of a sort of somnambulistic vibe to it. You know, it's a little. If you're not careful, it can put you to sleep. But if you don't go to sleep, you see a brilliant movie. At least in my
yeah. That movie is pretty interesting because it it's right if we let AI get out of control,
or life control.
or I mean genetics get out of
Yeah,
control, eugenics get out of control.
yeah,
A class system is precisely what's going to that's how it's going to shake out. That's exactly how it's going to shake out. There's not really any other way it could happen. People who are genetically engineered will have more money, they'll have more advantages in society. They will just do better in society, and that's really kind of prescient because I just think once we start tinkering with genetics, it's going to be a problem.
yeah.
Um,
One
I
of
think.
Oh, go ahead.
No, no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say one of the ones that really you can't find a more out of control example of it is the Matt Adams series, the book series, which I haven't read all of, just
I
Oryx
haven't
and
read them
Crake, the
either.
first one. Yeah, where it's a it's another Margaret Atwood book where the whole concept of genetic engineering is out of control. And
Yeah.
there's diseases, creatures just being made constantly, usually for bad reasons. And things go extremely badly. It is both a apocalyptic and a dystopian book, but I can't think of a better version that just makes it anarchic. It's so out of control.
Yeah, what's the other movie? The Island of Dr. Moreau is an early version of this.
That's a good one. I should have thought of that. Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good example of this where you have these human other animal hybrids living on this island, and it's the whole unfolding of this one scientist's mad plot. And I really think that the thing here is what we're really talking about in a lot of these movies is mad scientists.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the reason why I wanted to look at different things, because you've got people who develop computing technology, people who try to develop time travel, dimensions, access to multiverses. You've got scientists. That one's the most speculative one. But then you've got genetic engineering, and medicine itself. And I think a lot of these things that we talk about come out of uh, just basically a bad scientific um, method, bad, a twisting of the scientific method, or a twisting of technology, or a twisting of how we perceive technology.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, I kind of, when we talk about life and tinkering with life, you mentioned one of the earliest ones, which of course is the Star Trek original series episode Space Seed.
Hmm.
And what happens there? Well, the people who are genetically superior, they try to take over the world, and
Yep.
millions of people end up dead.
Hmm.
And further down the line, they ban genetic engineering because of that.
Right. Which of course
So,
gets into a whole bunch of other issues, but that's those are other episodes.
right. And so what happens is that really kind of pushes the Star Trek universe forward in a way they didn't anticipate it to. But there's a lot of these movies. Jurassic Park is a great example of this kind of movie.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Jurassic Park is genetic engineering gone wrong.
Yeah.
It's the whole point of Jurassic Park is, well, you shouldn't be messing around and adding other kinds of animal DNA, frog DNA to the process.
Yep. Yep.
There's a reason why the dinosaurs went extinct. And there's who are we to bring back species that, died in a natural fashion?
Yep. And it's happening. Well, not ones that died in a net. No, no, we're bringing back mammoths, right? They died in a natural fashion.
Well, they're talking about doing it. I don't know
Oh,
how
okay.
successful they're going to be, but they're talking about doing that. And then, of course,
Right.
that story came out about how they were going to bring back the dire wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 foot long, 5 foot high wolf. It's like, that's not a scientific. That's not a science fiction movie. There, there's this meme out there that says every science fiction movie or every disaster movie starts with a scientist who's being ignored.
That's an interesting thought. Now you've got me thinking about them and I'm seeing you're correct, I think.
Yeah, well, that's not me. I didn't invent that. I can't take credit for that. But
Well, your statement is correct, I
yeah.
should say.
But then we also talk about here's another great example of this is no, actually I moved that into another category. I moved that into the medicine category. But there are other examples of this.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about creating life whole cloth, by which I don't mean AI, because AI could fall into that category too, but non-AI, creating
You-
biological life
yeah.
whole cloth, a la Frankenstein.
Yep, yep. And she's the one who invented it all.
Yep.
She's the one who invented this entire genre of science fiction. Although there's an argument out there being made for some ancient Greek story. I'm not familiar with it, but I've kind of scanned that argument.
Oh, fascinating. I'll have
Yeah,
to
where they
look.
talk about creating artificial life,
Mhm.
some kind of homunculus.
Uh, is it created magically or with
I don't remember the
philosophy?
details of the story, but
I'll have to
it's
check it out.
it's kind of interesting when people talk about these things. It's they uh try it and point out that well, this isn't the oldest or the newest or the first. This is no, they get into this argument which quickly devolves into um kind of I don't know how to explain it, but it's pedantic. It's
Yeah.
like the old Stanley thing about how he never ever wanted to engage in the arguments. Would Hulk beat Wolverine?
Hmm.
So, I just think sometimes we get blocked in this. But yeah, Frankenstein is the best example of trying to create life.
The other one that
Uh,
leaped to mind for me was Splice. Um,
yeah, I hate that movie. I think that movie is terrible. God, that's a bad movie.
I have mixed
Um,
feelings about it. I can't exactly recommend it. Let's put it that way, but I didn't hate it.
that got on my nerves so much. Um, but I think a really good example of that one is also the based on the short story by H.P. Lovecraft, the Reanimator.
Yeah, you're fading out a little on me here. Having trouble hearing you.
Oh, sorry. It's the H.P. Lovecraft story Reanimator,
Yeah.
and the movie which followed. That movie is terrific, by the way, and not very many people saw it.
It's
Um,
terrific. I gotta just say along those lines, the other one you could almost consider him a series is From Beyond, and I like that one even better. But
yeah,
anyways, that's an aside.
but yeah, I mean, this is the mad scientist who decides to take life into his own or her own hands. And there's a lot of play in here. There's a lot of, but again, this comes to me into the category of medicine gone wrong.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, because I mean, think about this. Dr. Frankenstein really is a terrible villain. Um, he creates this life with no permit, without permission.
Hmm.
He just he puts life into a a body which is built by pieces by
Hmm.
robbing graves, and nobody, when the thing becomes sentient, when the monster becomes sentient, he tries to be a good human being. He reads books, he tries to learn from his mistakes, but he has to deal with the fact that he's wasn't wanted, that he's not viewed as a member of human society. He's not. He's an outsider,
Yeah.
and it's all because of the vanity of Dr. Frankenstein that he thought he could bring life back without there being consequences.
Yeah. In the book, for listeners who know the book, of course, he's not even that good. He just sees his monster and he runs screaming and he ignores it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I mean he's essentially a deadbeat dad.
I'm going to remember that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, Dr. Frankenstein is a deadbeat dad. He's not, he has a child or creates a life and then abandons it. And then the rest of the movie is the monster trying to reconcile his origin with his bad parents.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is as psychological a novel as it is science fiction.
Yeah, for
This is
sure.
about how a life who didn't ask to be here, which is kind of a metaphor for everyone, deals with trauma.
Yeah. Boy, does sci-fi hate the idea of creating life. It always creates the mad scientist, but sci-fi hates the very idea. You
Well,
just,
that's the religion in us, I think.
yeah, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, sometimes you get sci-fi that doesn't mind the tinkering with it, but when you talk about creating it, oh my God, find me, I mean, maybe they're out there. There's so many stories, but find me a sci-fi story that doesn't say that's all fucked up.
Yeah, I think we naturally kind of transition into medicine here
Mhm.
because really Frankenstein is a doctor who used his knowledge, which is generally supposed to benefit society, that doesn't.
Well, and he told himself there could be medical applications and things like that. And
Sure, he tried. He tried to justify his tinkering with humanity
yeah,
by saying it could improve humanity. And I think one of the most important themes of this novel and film is, hey, sometimes we need to develop a better moral sense of how we do things
right.
before we, and this is all very much a part. I mean, this extends out into nuclear weapons and AI
Yes.
and any kind of technology which could transform society. We just plunge headlong into it. Don't think about what the possibility is for unintended consequences.
Well, the scientist who does something just because it can be done.
Yeah.
and tries to, justify that is an archetype in science fiction.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those things that's just there's a lot of stuff going on here, and a lot of it comes from uh just comes from people believing that because you can do something, it should be done.
Yes, yes. Often just out of vanity, you know?
Yes, and this is not a new theme. This goes all the way back to the myth of Prometheus,
Right.
where he brings fire down to humanity and doesn't think about what it could be used for and how it could be used to harm humanity too. So I mean, these are really universal kinds of themes in all of literature, really. I think there's some other examples of medicine going wrong. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde,
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yep, yep.
you know, uh, this brings out another very, very old theological uh, kind of principle, the idea that men, humans, are always dualistic. You can be evil or you can be good.
And
Uh,
knowledge is dualistic often.
that's right.
You brought up
And tools are
Prometheus. I would
dualistic.
mention the Book of Enoch and Penemu, who brought down reading and writing to humanity. And the quote is something like, and all the horrors that come with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it also goes back to the myth of Pandora's box.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to open this set of unintended consequences just because you might be able to uh, discover something else about humanity?
Yeah, this is good stuff. This was a whole episode worth here.
Well, really, honestly, when you talk about medicine, every zombie movie almost has something to do with how medicine went wrong.
Yeah, usually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually some uh, virus that they were developing in a lab that escaped, or and nobody's done this yet, but it would be a really interesting idea, and it would bring in cli-fi as well.
hmm
Um, there are trapped in the Siberian taiga and the Canadian tundra. There are viruses and molds and spores that have been trapped because they've been frozen. And now with global warming, these things are being released, and we have no idea what the effects are going to be on society.
You know what also kind of fits into this category is Pluribus. Have you been watching that?
I haven't started yet. V is the one who told me I should be watching that show, and I just haven't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the basic, I don't think I'm going to you'll learn the premise in 5 minutes. So I
Yeah.
don't think I'll give anything away if I say, they get a signal that instructs them how to create a virus. So they create a virus from a signal. And it doesn't go well. So unless, I mean, the series is ongoing, unless we find out that that's wrong, or that, what one of those, what you think you knew is wrong, that's where Pluribus is. So
Right.
that's sort of fits.
Yeah.
Or-
12 Monkeys is a really great example of this.
Oh, yeah. And that gets into your, yeah, it's a great example of it. And it
Yeah.
gets into your messing with time too.
Yeah, but I think you have to look at the root cause of why they started messing with time is because of this plague gone wrong. And so
hmm
I think that fits better into the medicine the what happens when doctors mess up example. But I mean, again, we could do a show on just about an episode on just about any one of these single categories.
Yes, yes.
And
But the idea, just that collective idea that science fiction hates the science is, at least, or creates the science as the supervillain, is, it's just so fascinating to me. That
Yeah,
just,
no, I agree. I agree. And it's a lot of it has to do with also fundamental misunderstanding of how science works and what science does in society.
hmm
I think they take things that scientists would never, ever, ever do if they're going to operate ethically, and assumes that scientists just do this kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So it serves as both a warning uh, uh, against doing things just because you can, but it also kind of degrades science and
It
uh,
does.
makes it so people think science is a problem. And you know, this is a difficulty. This is a really crazy thing. Measles, which was considered like smallpox in the United States, basically eradicated, is really on the rise now.
Yep.
It's big time on the rise. And in fact, so much so that I'm thinking about getting a vaccine. And people hate vaccines now. It's like, look, guys, I love this. Have you ever heard Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about organic food?
No.
He said basically before the 19th century, for all intents and purposes, the lifespan of a human being was about 35 years old. And they said in the late 19th century and early 20th century, you see a massive increase in lifespan.
Mm,
Huge. And he says that's because of vaccines and medicine.
right.
It's entirely because of vaccines and medicine. He said, and so you have to be careful when you think about these things that seem like they're scientific, but they aren't. He said, you know, these people before the 19th century, they ate free range organic food and they lived to be 35 years old. So all these people saying, oh my God, you should eat organic food and you have to worry about seed oils and all these things. None of that's based on science. And I think the downside of these really cool movies about when science fiction hates science is that it puts things in people's minds that science is bad. Science bad. We should do things by guessing or intuition or religion. And I think that's kind of a difficulty here. We need to
Well, at
see.
the end of the day, they're really making comments, I think, and I didn't think this until I'm sitting here and we're talking about it. And you're going to go, no, duh. These things, they're not usually comments on the science because they present science as amoral, and the morality is the agency of the mad scientist or the asshole scientist.
Yeah,
Sometimes they're
yeah,
not mad. Sometimes they're just, what the fuck are you doing? You
right,
know?
right. How could you be so irresponsible?
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Bruce
yeah,
Banner, who got his for doing it.
yeah, right. That's exactly
Mhm.
right. You're messing with stuff you shouldn't be messing with. So now you get to be a giant raging green monster whenever you get mad.
Yeah. Although I shouldn't mention Bruce Banner because he falls into one of my other categories. But you mentioned time travel when you talked about, well, you were mentioning time travel. Maybe that's a good segue. Tell me about, because I didn't put that in my list. Tell me
Well,
about
I
time
think
travel.
I think there's a really great movie here which does what I'm talking about, and it's the main one I want to talk about, but it's The Mist.
The Mist. Yeah.
And people think of that as a pure horror movie, but it's not. The whole reason why The Mist shows up is the armed forces were playing with opening dimensions to, I mean, opening portals to new dimensions.
Hmm.
And so they're playing with this whole thing about, well, how can we open a portal to new dimensions? I can't think of any kind of military application for doing that at all. And of course, because these guys are trying to figure out how to manipulate time and the barrier between dimensions, uh, you have these terrible, unforeseen, unintended consequences.
Yeah.
And so this is a really great example of, hey, we shouldn't do this, but we're going to do it anyway. I mean, what could go wrong? And
Right.
and so the mist is a really good example of this. And one of the things it points out is that when we have problems like this, who's going to be the most affected by it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be the average person because they have no way to deal with this. They didn't even know that the armed forces were tinkering with this stuff.
Hmm.
They had no idea what was going on. Another example of this that just hit me is Stranger Things.
Yeah. Which
The
I
whole
haven't been watching. So,
Well, I watched the first three or four seasons. I haven't
Mhm.
watched the fifth one.
I
Uh,
watched the first two. Second one lost me, but I know everybody loves them since. I should get back to it.
but the whole premise is that the government is tinkering with opening portals to new dimensions,
Yeah.
and that all goes horribly wrong in a tiny little Indiana town. And it's just this bunch of kids who like to play D&D, and that serves as kind of a, well, spoiler alert here,
Yeah.
but that serves as kind of the backdrop for how they cope with this uh really jarring kind of situation that investigation into technology does. But I
You
do
know,
think,
it's the dwarves delve too greedily and too deep.
yes,
Yeah.
that's a great analogy there.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think there aren't necessarily a lot of movies like this. And I think it's a really good example of science going wrong because, this is basically dealing with physics. And the
Mhm.
whole science of physics is understanding the fundamental nature of the universe.
Yeah.
How do physical things work?
Mhm.
And I think we're going to see more movies like this as we get more and more involved in understanding how physics works.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but I think there are a lot of these time travel movies where terrible things happen because of time travel. What's the name of the science fiction story where a guy goes back in time and steps on a butterfly?
Oh, I don't.
That's
I
where
don't
the
know if
idea of
that's
the
called the
butterfly.
butterfly effect or not.
No, I don't
Um,
think it is.
I know what you're talking about, though. Um, there's a lot of yeah, and there's that, and then there's the chaotic that you were talking about. There's an X-Files episode where somebody comes back from the future and just talks about how time travel is happening in the future and it's all chaos. So he comes back to try to stop it. Um,
Ray Bradbury is called a Sound of Thunder, and that's where the movie. It's a Ray Bradbury short story called a Sound
okay,
of Thunder, and he goes back in time to do a dinosaur safari. Um,
right.
and he steps on a butterfly. And when he comes back in time, he's in a society where English spelling is so different, it's a different language to him, and a fascist is in charge of the government. And so it's kind of a predictive science fiction for our age.
Yes, never mind the sort of ridiculousness of that vision of time travel, but it makes for a good story.
Well, that whole butterfly effect thing, that really, I mean, that really takes hold in science fiction,
Oh, it really does,
especially
even
about
though I
time
think the
travel from then
Avengers have,
on.
right.
And it's only recently that we get things like the MCU version of time travel where you just
Yes.
get unwanted branches of the time stream. And
Which makes so much more sense.
yeah,
So much more sense.
yeah, especially because that really makes more sense once you understand the actual scientific many worlds theory, which
Right.
says there are infinite number of dimensions where every single outcome of every single event obtains. And so, travel from one dimension to another isn't necessarily bad. You just end up in a different universe where things are different.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know,
Which may or may
so
not work out for you.
right. But I do think it's interesting that a lot of that work also says that you can travel forward in time, but not backward.
So where's the story where you go back in time, you do something stupid, and you come back and the world is a better place? Huh.
Question. Good question. Uh, Sounds like a job for someone who's an actual fiction writer.
There you go.
But yeah, it's the same thing where, the end. I don't think there are very many AI movies done where AI realizes that it's probably better for them to serve humanity and improve humanity's condition rather than take over society and do a better job than humanity.
So I want to spend a second talking about how consciousness transfer generally doesn't go well.
The old body swap.
the body swap or putting yourself into a robot, somehow trying to, well, you know what it comes down to now that I say that, it's another type, it's the overall type of science that sci-fi hates, is sort of like your medicine. It's a subset of your medicine, and that's trying to create immortality.
Yeah, that's a very good one. That's
Yeah.
definitely one where where people don't like that idea. And again, I think that's mostly religion based because
Hmm.
why would you need to if you really can transfer your brain activity undamaged into a robot body,
Yeah.
then there's no need for an afterlife.
Right.
And there's also no real need to be an ethically or morally good person
Or to take care of yourself in any way, shape, or form. And I'm
or to
thinking
take care
of,
of anyone else.
yeah, I'm thinking of Surrogates, the Bruce
Yeah.
Willis movie. That one jumped to mind when I thought about this. Also, the Voyager episode, The Thaw with Michael McKean as the evil clown. Have you ever seen Michael McKean as the
Yes,
evil
I've
clown?
seen that one. That
Yeah,
one's very creepy. That's one of the few horror episodes of Star Trek which works.
it's true. It's true. Now,
They couldn't have picked a better actor to be the clown either.
I know. Well, that guy, he is underappreciated. He's awesome. I did want to mention though, when I thought of this one, that this doesn't always go bad. Another Black Mirror episode, San Junipero, um, it goes very well. Couple people get, and they're older and they get their consciousness put into this different place and they meet and they fall in love and it's great. It's not something you see very much, and you don't see good endings in Black Mirror either, so it was unique in a couple ways. But
Yeah, this is a really interesting thing, and people are actually working toward this as we're speaking. So this is a kind of contemporary science where people are trying to do this. They're trying to establish a way where we can download our personality and humanity. There's another movie that does this, and that's we talked about it before. It's a Neil Blomkamp movie. It's called Chappie.
oh, right.
It's called Chappie because what happens is the creator of Chappie gets mortally wounded, and Chappie helps him download his consciousness into another body. And it's a way for him to continue to have a familial relationship with his creator.
Chappie. It's a movie that sort of came and went. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love Neil Blomkamp. I think
Hmm.
District 9 was a genius movie,
Yeah.
and he's just kind of gone nowhere since then.
What
He
was the
did
name of the Matt Damon movie where it was
Elysium.
okay? I think I've had to ask you that in other episodes. I just can't remember it.
It's Elysium, and then he did that Chappie, uh, and he did District 9, Chappie, Elysium. There's another movie he's done too. And he was supposed to make a sequel to District 9, but it's been scrapped every time people try to make it.
Oh, that's a shame because I think the
But
movie did well. It's a real shame.
yes, the original movie District 9 did very well.
Yeah, I thought so.
And it was really well done. It was
Mhm.
really well done. And it's just one of those things where I think he kind of um, where he kind of peaked too early, maybe.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah.
But I don't know. I would like to see more work for him because I think he's super talented. I think he really does some
Mhm.
interesting stuff. So
Well, I
uh,
know one way to bring up one of your favorite movies. Oh,
oh
you
yeah.
go ahead. You were about to say something. I want to hear because I'm doing
Let's see. I
direction
want
here.
to talk about computing technology and media as a category. And I think we'll talk about different ways. Like I don't you've mentioned one movie I think which fits into this, and I think it's different than AI, and that's Dune,
Yeah.
because Dune has not only I mean, it's not only the Butlerian jihad, which is this war is a war against all technology.
Hmm.
It's not just a war about AI. It's a war about computing.
Everything and everybody.
That's right. And so it's really a war against any kind of technology. And that's very much kind of a can't think of the word for people who hate technology.
Oh, Luddites.
Luddites. This is a really Luddite movie, but yet somehow without computers, without these machines which can make mathematical calculations so much faster than human beings, they achieve things like spaceflight, and they achieve things like mining operations in very hostile environments. And so this is really just kind of a wholesale condemnation of all technology which doesn't involve human labor.
Hmm.
And I think that's, largely because the author, Herbert, did a lot of drugs.
Yeah, he was in a lot of ways, he was kind of a problematic guy, but we could do a whole episode about Frank Herbert probably.
Yes, so we could do probably a whole series of things about him. But there are other examples of this which are not AI, but which are still deal with technology and media and computing. I think another good example of this is Dr. Strangelove.
Hmm.
Dr. Strangelove, where both the Russians and the Americans independently and without talking to each other about it, um, developed doomsday devices. So if one side is attacked, it will ensure that not only the other side dies, but everyone on the planet dies.
Another one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, no, this is a great movie. It's a wholesale indictment of a whole bunch of things, like the American policy of saving Nazi scientists for our technological development. It's an indictment.
Oh yeah, Mein Führer, I can walk.
Yeah. Um, and it's a wholesale indictment of the military industrial complex.
Yeah.
It's an indictment of the fact that we have the capability to destroy everyone, and one rogue uh, psychotic actor could cause the devastation of all life on Earth. Um, it's a really interesting movie, but it's based on the premise that the government is letting these scientists run roughshod over the American people.
Yeah. And it's based on a serious book. It's not comical. Failsafe, is that what it's called?
Yeah, well, they did a
Mhm.
movie sale,
They
fail
did
safe,
a movie, another movie of it. Yeah.
and I think the original movie fail safe precedes it.
I think you're right about that. And I've never
I
seen
think
it, but I
Failsafe
think
is
you're
from the
right.
50s.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm curious to see it. I would love to compare the two.
Oh, it's kind of a class. No, yeah, it's I think it. Wait a minute, hold on a second.
There we go. Heading to Google again. I admit I've done it a
Same
couple
year.
times
It's
since
the
we've
same
been
year.
talking. Oh, it's the same year. No shit. That's funny. That's interesting. Um,
Oh no, Failsafe. The movie comes after Doctor Strangelove.
oh, it comes out, but it's the same year.
It's the same year. They're both
That's
64.
that's wild.
Okay.
So I've
Um,
got a category for you that'll bring up one of your favorite movies.
we can do that. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the computing technology
Oh
media.
yeah, go ahead, by all means.
Uh, One of my favorite movies. It's ridiculous, but I like it. It's really good. Videodrome.
Videodrome is a great movie. Big cult movie.
Well,
Um,
it talks about even before social media, the danger of mass media and its effect on other people.
mhm.
People are getting this like almost psychic wave through their TVs to go and look at this one channel called I forget the name of the channel, but it's this really weird, bizarre stuff going on, mutilations and murder and all kinds of things happening on this TV channel. And it's not like part of a cable package. You just kind of get this psychic wave to start watching it, and then it starts altering your mind by watching it. So
And it's of course it's a Cronenberg movie, so it's fucked up.
yeah. Well, what's interesting to me is this came out in 82 or 83, I think. And the really interesting thing to me is this. At the time, it's the kind of golden age of cable movie channels.
Hmm.
Um, and I saw some of the most ridiculous, weirdest stuff at 2 o'clock in the morning, sitting in the basement lounge of a dorm on campus. These weird things that would only be shown at 2 or 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, that from my chronic insomnia, I watched. I mean, I've seen so many interesting movies because of that. And it kind of was like that. You would see these really strange, odd movies that you'd never see on TV, and you'd never see. A lot of these movies were caught up in the 80s, scandal about VHS called the video nasties in England. And a lot of these movies you would never, ever, ever see except very, very late at night on a cable show. And so this whole uh, kind of vibe about you'll never know what's going to see on TV, and you're being manipulated toward violence and murder and chaos and mayhem just by watching TV. And it's really fascinating, but it all has to do with the science of broadcasting these hidden messages over the airwaves, which anybody can pick up and watch, kids, adults, no matter who it is,
Yeah,
and
the
how it
TV.
really just doesn't affect your life in a consumer way, but infects how you think about things.
Yeah.
And I
And of
think this is,
course, it's, the TV literally reaching out to grab you. It's
yes,
good
yes.
stuff.
It's not a metaphor anymore. It's actually.
No.
There's one more that I want to talk about, and then that's it. We'll move on to the next category. Is the three body problem.
Yeah, which is another one you're a fan of that I haven't read or seen yet.
Well, we're going to take about 30 seconds here. So people who haven't seen it yet on Netflix, because they're going to make a season two, can walk away
Oh,
or turn off or fast forward 30 seconds, because the everything that sets off the entire chain of events in the show happens because of something a scientist does that this scientist should not have done. So
no.
if you are interested in watching this show without any kind of influence, please walk away for about 30 seconds right now. Do something else. Have a lovely beverage, adult or not. Get some ice cream. Scroll on the net. Doesn't matter. Just do something. So the entire chain of events, which include an impending alien invasion, happened because a woman who sees her husband murdered during the Chinese Cultural Revolution, not her husband, her father, who is a physicist. He's called up on stage in this massive rally and told to rebuke science. He refuses to, so they beat him to death. She's taken as a political prisoner. And then the Chinese, you find out there's this like Cold War technology race to contact alien life forms.
Mhm.
And so the implication is that the Russians are doing this and the Americans are doing this, the Chinese are doing this. So they break her out of her political prison and say, okay, look at this great site. It's this massive, high-powered radio antenna. We're trying to contact life on other planets. And she succeeds. And she's basically imprisoned here. She can't leave because she's a political liability. And they've told her, there's nothing you can do. You can work on this project, or you can, clean up latrines in the gulag. And so she goes to work on the project. And because she's treated so what happens is she actually is the first person to make contact with another alien technology, I mean, another alien civilization. And they send her a message back that said, "I'm so glad I was the one who intercepted this message, because if anybody else had, we would invade you and we would take over the entire solar system. You would be toast. So do not send another message, because we're coming for you if you do."
Sounds really cool, like a real, taking the what UAP, is that what a UFO is now?
Yeah, yeah.
That kind of conspiracy theory and really, really making it into a Cold War, as you say, is kind of brilliant.
Well, what happens here is because she's lived this terrible life, all in pursuit of science, and at every turn she's suffered for her pursuit of science, she says, fuck it. I'm going to bring them in. Humans are worthless and useless, and they mistreated each other poorly. So we're going to destroy our society.
Hmm.
So she answers the message, and then you find out, well, all right, we're coming.
Yeah.
And the rest of the show uh, evolves from there.
Digging too deep. It's another one of those.
But it's a really good example of scientists using technology in a way which is irresponsible, immoral, all based on her specific single conditions. The stuff that happened to her, she universalizes and then uses technology to try and destroy everything about humanity. And
Yeah,
it's science fiction hating science.
that's interesting. So the one that you're going to love, I was going to mention, is a little bit trickier because obviously science fiction loves automation.
Yes.
Everything in spaceships, everything, it's all automated, right? I mean, you don't have sci-fi without a positive view towards automation, but sci-fi hates too much of it. Sci-fi hates science that creates automation out of control. And you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Wall-E.
Yep. Wally.
Also, movies like Surrogates. Surrogates comes up again, I think, because that's really what they're doing in that case. But yeah, I thought of Wall-E. I thought of you.
Oh, I think Wally's one of the best films made in the 21st century so far. I think it's great. It's a love story. It's cli-fi. It's um it's it has a positive spin on humanity. Um it's just a great movie. I think it's really, really interesting how well they thought through that movie.
Yeah, yeah.
It's both dystopian and utopian.
It is kind of. You're right. How interesting. Yeah.
It's both. It's dystopian and utopian at the
And it's
same
got a
time.
great Peter Gabriel song. I love that song.
Well, yeah, but yeah, love the movie. I think it's great, and I think you're right. But again, I think that fits into the computing technology media thing.
For
Too
yours, it
much,
totally does. Yes, it totally
too
does.
much technology is bad.
Hmm.
Enough technology is good. I mean, not enough technology is bad. So what you're looking for is a Goldilocks technology.
Right, right. Which also is, you could put what was my last category in it, just the same, which is sci-fi hating out of control energy development, nuclear weapons,
Yeah,
carbon generating tech.
yeah,
That gets you to all kinds of stuff. It gets you to Terminator, which also is AI. It sort of gets you to Godzilla. You get a double blast of it with Snowpiercer, where it's cli-fi, it's climate change, and then the attempt to fix climate change goes badly. But out of control energy development without a clear ethic or purpose. Well, not purpose, because weapons, but anyways, uh, sci-fi hates it.
yeah. It's interesting. I don't think they're explicit about it, but I think Cloverfield implies that too.
Cloverfield, yeah, Cloverfield's hard to pin down because we don't know what's going on.
Well, and they do that on purpose. I mean,
Yeah,
have you seen the very last scene, the post credit scene?
I'm sure I have, but I'm not
It's a
calling it to
piece of the
mind.
video where you can see the ocean in the background and you see something splash into the water.
Yeah, vaguely remember that.
Well, the assumption is that that's a fallen satellite, and it was the nuclear materials in that satellite which woke up Cloverfield at the bottom of the ocean.
Ah,
The crazy theory that I've seen about that, the crazy hypothesis I've seen about that movie is uh, that Cloverfield is a juvenile, that the monster Clover is a juvenile.
uh-huh. Hmm.
And so that means there's an adult one somewhere down there too.
I think they were bigger in the last one, so that works. I like that whole series. The last one was, universally panned and considered crap. And I
Was it
think,
10 Cloverfield Lane?
no, no, it was,
Talking
what
about the
was
one
it
that was
called?
on Netflix?
Yes, yes. I can't think
Yeah,
of the name of it.
Cloverfield Effect.
Yeah, okay. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it got a really bum rap.
I had a hard time watching it. It was very slow.
Well, it was kind of slow, but I enjoyed it anyway.
Also,
So I
it was
like the whole series.
the thing for me was it was hard for me to envision Chris O'Dowd as a serious, you know, serious enough guy to time travel. I mean, to travel in space.
That's funny.
I love Chris O'Dowd, but I think he's. Have you seen the series from Britain that made him famous?
Which one is that?
It's called The It Crowd, and it is spelled
Oh,
capital I, capital T.
I haven't. Yeah, I know what you're talking about
Yeah,
though.
they play he and the other male lead in that show is a guy named Richard Ayoade.
Mm.
He's a British comedian. Oh God, he's so funny. And he's great in the show. He's very, very dry. Um, the premise of this show is that they are two IT professionals in a large corporation, and they get a boss who knows absolutely nothing about IT. And this is the way they answer the phone. And they'll say, IT department, have you tried turning it on and off again? That's just the standard way they answer the phone.
I had that job once, just for the record, but anyway.
Yeah, I did too when I was in grad school. But yeah, I had trouble watching the Cloverfield Effect, but I think the Clover 10 Cloverfield Lane is so good.
Oh, it's a great movie. It's the
It,
best of the three. That I wouldn't argue.
I mean, it's so good, and I would like to see more, but I would like to see it developed better before they
Yeah.
think about making another one.
It would have been better. The one way it would have been better if it hadn't been presented as a Cloverfield movie. That was
Yeah,
a mistake because then you knew that the apocalypse was going on out there, and John Goodwin was essentially right about that, not
yeah.
about anything else. But it would have been even better if you had no idea, you know?
Yeah, probably, but I don't. I think they wanted to market it as that, so they didn't want to take the risk that people wouldn't make the connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
I
yeah,
tell you, that finishes up my categories. So what else have
I
you got for me that you want to play out there?
think I've gone through everything. We've gone through zombie movies. We've gone through. I think there's a lot that there's. I think there's a lot of future, a lot of movies there, well, here's what I'm saying. I think there are some categories here that are gold mines for people who want to consider writing stories like this. I think the genetic engineering one is just full of possibility, as
Yeah.
is the time travel, opening other dimensions, the many worlds hypothesis. We know we're going to have these massive breakthroughs in medicine and genetic engineering and physics because of the power of computing. I mean, if we get quantum computers on people's desktops, stuff is going to, be revolutionized. I mean, we've now mapped the entire human genome, and uh, oh, except for with RFK Jr. in charge of the Health and Human Services, we may see a big delay in that. But I mean, they're on the verge of finding mRNA viruses, which will eliminate cancer from humanity.
Yep. And on the other hand, they're on the verge of creating anti-life, which is DNA wrapped the other direction, which
Right.
could wipe
So,
everybody out.
so there's a lot of interesting
Mirror
things.
life, not anti-life. God, anti-life is
There,
yeah, that's dark side. Mirror life.
and so there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen, and things are going to change, and you're going to have people out there documenting those changes. But you're going to see a lot of anti-science science fiction coming up,
We
and a
will
lot,
always,
yeah.
always have stories about the dwarves delving too greedily and too deep. in the words of Gandalf.
But the really big problem is going to be, I think, the deleterious effect on science.
Oh, you
I
think it'll matter?
Yeah, I know, and I do because, ironically, because of science itself,
Mm,
or at least technology.
yeah.
The
Well,
internet has spread so many lies and misinformation and disinformation that a lot of people who think they're smart who are really, 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 really stupid have become far more influential than they should have, and they're getting reinforced that they're geniuses. And I think this is going to be a big problem for society going in the future.
you know,
Um,
you're right. And I think science is essentially amoral. It's science. It's dealing with facts, and
well,
facts are facts.
it's a
But
method for
we don't live
understanding
in a
the world.
world where people believe in amorality. Everything is good or evil, and we're all stacking up everybody's version of good or evil. So science is a good thing or it's a bad thing. And we've got a lot of people now saying science is a bad thing.
Well, and the
Um,
worst part of that is they're saying science is a bad thing without having any understanding of what science does. And
right.
you know what just occurred to me? There's something which is one of my favorites we haven't mentioned, and that's Canticle for Leibovitz.
Yeah, right. We've talked about
That
that in
book
depth too.
deals with all of this because after the first nuclear war, they go around killing anyone who is a scientist or an engineer.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I worry about society because the internet makes idiots feel like they're geniuses
Hmm.
and gives them reinforcement in a very large amount. It's like MTV. There are musicians out there who were mediocre at best, but because they had videos that were good, became industry worldwide legends. Madonna, without the video, she would have had one or two hits.
She had talent, though.
What?
She had talent.
She has talent, but not the level of talent that she was boosted to, I don't think.
That's
And yes,
probably
okay.
true.
If
That's
people want to,
that's fair.
if people want to hate me for that, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, I don't
That's
care.
fair.
Uh, I'm not concerned about other people's opinions very much. Um, but I think that was really the worst part of it. The worst part of MTV was you had all these mediocre artists who, were considered superstars because some director made a cool video.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that has happened a lot in every category with the internet. There are people who just should not be considered experts in anything making policy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
There
yeah.
are people out there considered cinematic geniuses who are hacks.
Yeah.
And there are the flip side of that is there are people who are toiling every day and working really hard at something, but they don't get any recognition for it because there's so much bad stuff on the internet.
Yeah. Determined, angry, and condescending ignorance rules the world right now. So yeah.
Well, in some ways it always has, but the problem is the backlash against scientists is gonna be really bad
Yeah, it's
somewhere
gonna
down
get
the
worse.
line.
At least, well, I hope I'm wrong. I hope we're both wrong, but I think it's gonna get worse.
Yeah, I think it is too, which is unfortunate. So,
Well,
but
on that note, everybody, I
well,
think it's
that's the whole reason why you have to keep fighting.
yeah,
That's the whole reason why you have to keep, putting out good information, calling out people who are lying or manipulating or changing information. That's, you're never going to get to everybody, but there are going to be people out there that see your stuff online and go, okay, maybe I need to think about this. Maybe the way I thought about it isn't really the best way to think about it.
and
So,
anything you could call social justice work. And I think what you're describing is you have to do with the understanding that you might not see the payoff in your lifetime, but you still have to do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's what we're gonna get a Buffy reference or Buffy verse reference. Angel deals with this very, very carefully. He says, look, I'm not going to be turned into a human being. What I do may not matter, but that's what makes everything I do matter.
Hmm.
Said, we're all going to end up dead in the long run. And so everything we do in a way is completely pointless. But when that's all you have and that's all you can do, you must do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes this kind of stuff hopeful.
Hmm.
It's that even though you have these kinds of difficulties, you have to keep doing it. You, reward is not your goal. The work itself is what you should do. And you do it because it's the right thing to do, not because you can benefit from it, not because you're you know gonna get any personal specific benefits out of it. You do it because it's what you must do.
Here's a reference you never saw coming. Flatliners. Everything we do matters. It's not what they meant, but it's a great
No,
line.
no, it isn't. But of all the existentialist philosophers, I like Camus because he said, okay, so we're going to die. So why should you be glum about it? You should be happy because you have a chance to do stuff before you die.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but that's a great thought. And see, we were ending on a terrible note before. It was depressing. And largely you, sir, have managed to elevate us to something more positive and a better ending note. So kudos to you. Bravo.
Well, I did it completely accidentally, so that has to be noted here.
All right. All right, folks. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thanks for
As
listening.
always.
Yep, we love these things. We're going to keep doing them. So.